Can a single writer reinvent an entire genre? For centuries, Gothic horror belonged to Europe. Dark castles, ancient families, haunted manors, ghosts trapped in crumbling estates. Then came a writer from Mexico, who asked a simple question. What if Gothic horror spoke with a different voice? The answer became one of the most celebrated horror novels of the 21st century. And it changed modern Gothic fiction forever. Today, we're exploring why Silvia Moreno-Garcia has become one of the most original voices in contemporary horror, and what every writer can learn from her storytelling. Silvia Moreno-Garcia was born in Mexico City before moving to Canada as a teenager. Living between two cultures shaped the way she saw stories. Instead of treating culture as background decoration, she made it the heart of her fiction. Her novels feel different because they don't imitate traditional Gothic literature. They expand it. Like many great authors, her fascination with storytelling began early. She immersed herself in literature and creative writing, gradually developing a voice that blended folklore, history, fantasy, horror, and literary fiction. Before publishing best-selling novels, she wrote short fiction and steadily refined her craft. That patience would eventually define her career. Then came Mexican Gothic. On the surface, it looks familiar. A mysterious mansion, a strange family, an isolated location, a woman investigating disturbing events. But beneath those classic Gothic ingredients is something entirely new. Because this isn't simply European Gothic fiction moved to another country. It's Gothic horror transformed through Mexican history, culture, and identity. Many horror stories ask, what is the monster? Silvia Moreno-Garcia asks something deeper. What created the monster? Her novels explore colonialism, identity, heritage, power, and the lingering influence of history on the present. The supernatural becomes more than entertainment. It becomes metaphor. Traditional Gothic fiction often depends on ghosts. Moreno-Garcia understands something even more frightening. Sometimes, history itself haunts us. Old beliefs, family secrets, inherited trauma, generations carrying wounds they never chose. That emotional depth gives her horror lasting power. One reason readers admire Silvia Moreno-Garcia is her versatility. She doesn't repeat herself. While Mexican Gothic explores psychological and Gothic horror, Ghost Summer moves between supernatural tales and emotional human drama. The Beautiful Ones blends fantasy, romance, and subtle Gothic atmosphere. Different genres, different settings, one unmistakable voice. So what exactly makes something Gothic? Isolation, decay, secrets, psychological tension, the supernatural, emotional extremes. These ideas have existed since the 18th century. But Moreno-Garcia modernizes them for today's readers. Instead of simply copying old traditions, she asks how those traditions evolve. Another hallmark of her writing is character. Her protagonists aren't perfect. They're intelligent, determined, curious, and deeply human. They struggle with identity, family, fear, and belonging. Readers connect with them because they feel authentic. Great horror isn't only frightening, it reveals uncomfortable truths. Moreno-Garcia uses supernatural elements to explore real issues. Gender expectations, class, race, cultural identity, power structures. The monsters matter, but the ideas behind the monsters matter even more. Many fantasy writers invent mythology. Silvia Moreno-Garcia begins with existing traditions. Mexican folklore, legends, history, symbolism. Then she reimagines them through modern storytelling. The result feels both ancient and completely original. One lesson appears throughout her novels. Atmosphere comes first. Long before terrifying events occur, readers already feel uneasy. The setting whispers. The dialogue feels strange. The silence grows louder. Fear begins before danger appears. That's masterful suspense. Classic Gothic stories often portrayed women as passive victims. Moreno-Garcia changes that. Her protagonists investigate, question authority, challenge expectations, and refuse to surrender to fear. That shift gives her stories a modern emotional core while preserving Gothic tension. Her novels offer something increasingly rare: originality. Readers recognize familiar Gothic elements, but they experience them through entirely new cultural perspectives. The stories surprise us, not because they ignore tradition, but because they transform it. If you're a writer, study Silvia Moreno-Garcia. Use your own culture as creative strength. Let history shape your fictional worlds. Build atmosphere before revealing horror. Create protagonists with agency. Make every supernatural element serve a deeper theme. Blend genres without losing your voice. Readers remember stories that feel personal, not stories that imitate everyone else. Silvia Moreno-Garcia has shown that Gothic fiction still has room to evolve. It doesn't belong to one country or one tradition. Every culture has forgotten legends, haunted places, family secrets, and stories waiting to be told. By embracing her heritage, she has expanded the possibilities of modern horror. Perhaps Silvia Moreno-Garcia's greatest lesson isn't about Gothic fiction at all. It's about originality. The most memorable writers don't become successful by copying classics. They become successful by bringing something only they can offer. Their voice, their history, their perspective. That's what turns a good story into an unforgettable one. Silvia Moreno-Garcia didn't simply write best-selling horror novels. She reimagined a centuries-old genre through culture, history, and identity. Her work proves that Gothic horror isn't frozen in the past. It's alive, changing, and capable of telling entirely new stories. Because the greatest writers don't just inherit genres, they reshape them for the next generation. If you enjoy author deep dives, literary analysis, and storytelling techniques from today's most influential writers, subscribe, because every great novel begins with a unique voice, and every unforgettable writer has the courage to tell stories only they can tell.